Hey, we're Lime Cordiale. This is Ollie and Louie. We're chatting with Milky.
Not long now to you guys take the stage to Groovin The Moo. Exciting. What are you guys looking forward to about performing at the festival?
This is our first, Groovin The Moo where we're doing all the festivals. We've done it once before. We were kind of sort of first on in Canberra, or close to first on anyway, and we were
fresh to the festival.
We were the noobs of the festival. So, to be kind of a bit more in like a headline slot is pretty amazing. Yeah, so super stoked.
Yeah, so awesome. It's been like a rough few years, like for everyone, but also particularly the live music industry. Now, I know you guys have kind of like still been able to perform over like the past few years. But now that we're back in like the swing of things, like no restrictions, full on shows, what are you guys bringing to your set? Like not only at Groovin The Moo, but you're also on your current tour to make it like the ultimate Lime Cordiale experience.
Yeah, I mean we've had a lot of delays and pushbacks and things like that. We just did our first of the album tour, which was meant to happen in 2020. So it's now 2022, and we just did that show last night. We're literally just at the airport jumping in an Uber right now. The airport's are manic, and I don't know, you get used to all this like weirdness, don't you, Lou? Look at him.
Yeah.
Walking to find the Uber, and it's it's kind of fun in a weird way, as much as it is just mayhem. So like we've actually had a lot of time to work on this new set, which has kind of kept evolving and changing, and we've had a whole bunch of different rehearsals for this set. So it's I feel like we've kind of got this set down to a T in a lot of ways. Like it feels really rehearsed, and it feels really, really good on stage to be, just playing a big show that we've been really hanging out for. We've done a lot of little shows.
And so which three songs do you guys like love playing the most? Like they're always in the set list. They're your like ultimate three that you need to play.
I mean, we've got a new one. We've got our new single Facts of Life in there.
Played that for the first time in Melbourne.
Yeah, so that was our first one yesterday. And I don't know, that might move into one of the faves pretty soon, just because love playing fresh ones.
Yeah.
But Inappropriate Behavior, On Our Own, like they're definitely up there for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
we've got some real freshies.
Yeah, with some weird parts to this new set. A bit of a Berghain German influence, German house.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but it's been fun.
Yeah, awesome. Looking back at like performing kind of like pre-2020 versus now, how do you think audiences are like responding to live music in terms of like that hunger to experience the live show? And also like, what are your feelings towards it now?
I mean, it was like last night was great. We got a lot of messages after the show and this morning saying just how awesome it is to have live music like back. It felt a lot of people messaged us saying, it feels like it's really back now.
Yeah. We've had a few of those moments. I mean, it's kind of,
a few of those moments where it stops and starts.
Well, where it feels like everything has come back again, before the multiple lockdowns that we've all had. But yeah, it's kind of refreshing. Each time it feels like you're at a gig for the first time ever, and it's interesting because like our audiences were getting bigger and bigger, and then in 2020 they dropped down to like 80 capacity shows. And we were like doing 80 capacity shows, like, yeah, this is awesome.
We're doing shows.
And then when we'd have something that was, closer to 1,000 or something, it was like, it's the first time we've done a show to a big audience again. So it was like humbling in a lot of ways. And it was like building ourselves up from scratch again. So I feel like we've still got that buzz going. Like last night was nearly 10,000 or something. And it's like overwhelming, kind of, maybe it's just like, I guess like humbled us or something a little bit more, instead of just being these wankers that play arenas all the time and getting over it.
You're still a wanker.
Yeah. And so how important is performing for you guys in terms of making that in-person connection with your fans who resonate with your music?
Pretty important. I mean, we really strive to, like whether they're big shows or not, just kind of make it feel like it's a house party still. It's like where we grew out of we grew out of playing house parties on the northern beaches, and like you want to have that intimacy, no matter how big the shows are. So I feel like it does feel like everyone's a part of the show. Everyone seems to be going kind of wild, whether at the front or the back, and it's just like it feels like our little club that people enter into, or like our little world or something. So yeah, I mean, it's a big part, but you know, the audience is the most important part for us, really. So yeah, I love how involved everyone gets. It's great.
Yeah, it's so lovely. And so the new single has also just dropped, Facts of Life, such a fun one. Tell me a bit about like what inspired the song, where it came from.
Well, we wrote this one up at a farm on the mid-north coast, and we actually wrote it with our producer Dave Hammer that we've been working with for a few years. And yeah, songs are, you know, always different when you write them with other people, and he was involved in that process. And yeah, I don't know, it's quite nostalgic. We mentioned Avalon in there, which is our hometown on the northern beaches, and it, you know, it feels like that time of like just coming out of high school and everything's fresh, and yeah, just being naughty and naive. And yeah, I hope we've kind of captured that feeling.
Yeah, definitely like a nostalgic feeling when we're writing the song. Hopefully people can feel that as well, besides us.
So is there like a particular line or like lyric, musical motif that you find of get like stuck in your head more often than not from the new song?
Yeah, I mean, like the chorus gets in your head. Like I was having kind of sleeping problems when we were around the time of recording this song and writing this song and a bunch of others, and it was like I would just lie awake all night, you know, with this chorus, especially just going around and round in my head. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not completely sick of the song already.
At one point you were like, hey, let's just not play that song before we go to bed.
Yeah, we had to like stop our sessions at kind of like 6 p.m. and then we had to just watch movies or something, because we wrote this, you know, we're on a bit of a writing trip with our producer at the time, and yeah, we were just writing songs every day. So I had to put some boundaries in. We could start earlier, but yeah, we need to be finished by 7 and then just like not play these songs again. It was just it was, yeah.
And Dave, our producer, is a massive workaholic, so he never wants to stop.
Yeah.
It's hard to get him to stop.
Yeah, 100%.
Drives
us mad.
But there's a little, there's like a bird in there. There was like, when we were recording it was in this living room, sort of surrounded by bush, and there was this, I think it was a willy wagtail, was right outside the window the whole time we were recording, and it was just doing this little cheep, yeah, one of those, and we recorded that, and that's in the bridge of it as well. And the same with like there's a little bee that flies from the left to the right speaker. Birds and the bees in there.
Yeah,
so cute.
And so I mean, you guys have already had a massive year so far. You know, you dropped Elba on tour, some more new just dropped. What do you guys have planned for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, this show last night was the start of, you know, a pretty manic year. I think it's going to be, you know, a lot of shows. We've already, you know, we haven't announced everything, but I feel like we've already got maybe 70 or 80 shows booked in for the rest of the year. Most of them are in Europe, so we're kind of basing ourselves out of London from June. Got to find a little spot to live in London, and yeah, we're just making up for lost time for overseas touring. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting having a bit of a sea change. We've never spent that much time overseas in one go. We might all drive each other mad. I've heard stories of bands that like end up, one of them pulls a gun to the other guy's head, and or things like that. Louis is wondering who that was. I'll tell him afterwards. But yeah, you know, it's just I think we're all pretty friendly in our band, and we're pretty good at supporting each other. But when you've got gig after gig, and it's I think going to be a lot of like rough touring as well. So it's going to be interesting. Probably come back with beer bellies and yeah, just look, you know, a nice slender face. I reckon this is going to be round, big, and yeah, lots of cheese, lots of beer, because it's hard to pass down in Europe. It's pretty lush, especially if you're in Germany. They treat you like gods. As soon as you get there, you might sell 10 tickets to the show, you go backstage and there's this like huge buffet. You know, they're so good at helping you out. As soon as you rock up the venue, there's like 5 people waiting to, you know, unload the truck and yeah. And then, you know, Italy is the supposedly, we haven't done a show in Italy yet, but it's the polar opposite. You rock up and the PA is just on the floor and there's no one around, and you're expected to set everything up. The Beatles are a very kind of obvious one for us, because it's just a band that we just never get over. And, you know, we have every album on record, and obsessed with kind of watching documentaries. And I don't know, it's the band that's probably the most inspiring. But I don't know, we grew up like listening to The Strokes and Kings of Leon, you know, so they're big influences for us. And, you know, there's kind of the obvious ones, like every Australian band is inspired by Tame Impala, and I don't know, there's so much good music coming out of Australia. So but I think like Spotify is really great for, you know, discovering new music. So we just share a Spotify account, and if I like a song, then I know that Louis is going to hear it, and it's kind of a good way of sharing music without actually even talking to each other about it. It's just like pops up, and then a couple of days later he'll go, "Oh, I heard that song that was in there." That's like, you know, shit. Yeah.
We've got kind of one that we've sort of done recently. It's a bit of a dream collab.
Yeah.
Probably can't say who it is yet, but
oh, true. Yeah, we do have a collab on this next album that we did over in LA. So that's exciting. But I'm also pretty excited to have a break from collabs, because in between album 2 and 3, we've done a lot of that, and I don't know, there's something nice about just this is our music, it's how we want it to be. No one else's influence in there. Probably a Strokes album, Room on Fire. Just don't know how everything's so tight and well arranged. You know, kind of like when we pretty much every song we write, you know, we start arranging it from the start. It's not like just written on acoustic guitar or piano. So arrangement is like, you know, we're pretty passionate about that. Fistful of Dollars, or maybe a spaghetti western. I think that would be pretty fun.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, Louis got a bit of a crush on Miley.
I think she's great. I saw her latest Tiny Desk, and I'm gonna crush you. The one's always talking about. I do as well, for sure. But yeah, I watched her Tiny Desk recently, and I thought it was amazing. Yeah, definitely think she's great live. I think the first like song that I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I was like learning the piano when I was 6. I think we were pretty late to the Beatles game. I mean, 6 is pretty early, but you know, I learned like Let It Be on the piano, and I was just like, for that song, like straight up, I hadn't heard the song before. I hadn't heard any Beatles stuff, and that song is just like amazing. I think that was probably the first song that I was just like, oh, I'd love to sing this song. Probably Spice Girl.
What spice would you be?
Spice? Chili, for sure.
Yeah, I'd be Posh Spice, get it on with Beckham.
Oh, Spice. I thought you meant like that was like the leading question. I was like, Carter,
Chili.
Cumin.
Don't stress and just keep plugging forward. I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it is interesting when you have like, you know, there's a band like Tame Impala, and then everyone is just suddenly putting Junos in their, you know, synthesizers in their music. And like, I think the Currents album just like gave a lot of permission for indie bands to like, I don't know, sound more poppy, or like, you know, I feel like before that it was just like indie bands were kind of a bit grungier and things like that. So you know, that was definitely a game changer for Australian bands for sure. Yeah, I don't know how many other bands have like really done that recently, but it's cool when someone releases an album that like just gives you know, other bands permission to do something, because it's just suddenly cool.